Hello and what is up, YouTube? My name is G3Iron and welcome to today's discussion where we will be taking a look at 4 activities that you can do in Standard as you wait for the upcoming 3.11 Path of Exile League. If you're new to Path of Exile, then you probably don't realize, or maybe you're just now learning, that every single league, every 3 months, leagues migrate over into Standard. That's where everything in Path of Exile goes. If you lose a character in Hardcore League, it migrates to Standard. If you lose a character in Hardcore Standard League, it migrates to Standard. Characters, rather than being deleted when defeated in Hardcore, move to Standard League. Similarly, when a league ends, which is upcoming here in June, 3.10 Delirium will end, all of your character, all of your gear, and all of your stash will then migrate over to Standard. Those of you who are veterans of the game know that everything's already waiting for you over in Standard in millions of little remove-only dump tabs. And it's about this time in the league's life cycle that it's good to ask, what is there for you to do that's fun and enjoyable in Standard League? So that's what we'll be discussing today. Those of you who are new to the channel, you can like, subscribe, and ding the bell to be notified about future discussions just like this one. Let's dive into today's discussion. One teeny tiny little disclaimer as we get started with this discussion today. A lot of players are going to say, what? Oh, Iron, Standard? You can't even play Standard. Standard isn't fun. I just wanted to issue a quick PSA as a reminder. Playing video games are supposed to be fun. So if you have fun playing Standard or playing in League, go have fun doing that. So if you're having a great time playing League, go do that. Don't let me or somebody else tell you how you need to enjoy your hobby time and how you need to have fun. Conversely, if you're having fun in Standard and you're enjoying playing in Standard League, do that. Don't let somebody saying, oh, Standard League is blah, 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 ruin your fun and your own enjoyment in Standard League. I feel like whenever we have a discussion on Standard, or as soon as that word comes up, a whole bunch of people come out of the woodwork and just start bashing on Standard. Standard is not a bad word in Path of Exile. Don't let it become one. Remember, PoE is a video game. Video games are about having fun. Have fun. Let's have a great discussion today. The first fun activity that you can do over in Standard is to use Standard as a testing locale for various builds. Because all of your gear and characters and currency eventually migrate over to Standard, this means you've got lots of tools at your disposal to put together a build that you've always wanted to try. That's right, maybe there's that meme build that you've been waiting for months to get your hands on or give a test pilot to, but you haven't wanted to waste any time during a proper league while you are using various powerful combinations that you already knew about. Now you can try out all sorts of silly combinations by using Standard League as a platform for doing so. Maybe there's a particular archetype that you haven't gotten to try yet on a particular character. Maybe that's a particular ascendancy, a particular class, or maybe it's already on a character class that you've played before, but it's using skills that you've never tried on that particular character before. Maybe there are new mechanics that have come in since you've last played a particular archetype or a particular ascendancy class, and now you'd like to give it a shot. Or maybe there's some weird concoction of mechanics that you and you alone have figured out how to jumble together, and therefore you will assemble some sort of weird amalgamation of Frankenstein's monster of a build. Standard is the perfect test lab for you to try out whatever curiosity is leading you to build, because it's got all of your gear, all of your currency, and if you make a mistake, it's really not that big of a waste of time. In fact, it's probably a great expenditure of time because it's in Standard League. You've got all your currency, all your gear, all your characters are right there, and you can test out whatever it is that you want to test on those wonderful little lab rats known as Standard characters. The second great activity for you to do while we wait for 3.11 is to practice boss encounters. That's right, maybe you're trying to brush up on your Adziri fight, on your Shaper time, on your Elder or Uber Elder experience, or maybe you want to test a build that hasn't experienced one of those particular fights yet. Now is the time where you can take the currency that you've earned, the fragments that you've got, and the bosses that are awaiting you and go try them out. Maybe you've never experienced an all fight in Delve. That's right, there is a massive boss inside Delve that I bet the vast majority of you have never even seen. His name is All. He's the Crystal King. He's touted as one of the best designed bosses in all of Path of Exile to experience as a player, and yet a great many players never reach the proper depths in Delve in League in order to actually have a chance for All to spawn. Thankfully, because you're playing in Standard League, you will have the lowest Delve depth available to you of any league that you have ever delved. Meaning you don't need to start afresh delving down like you would every single league. You have got a continual point of reference at the deepest depth that is available to you in Standard. Now, that of course won't help you if you've never delved before, so in that case, I guess you're still screwed. But either way, all is a fantastically fun fight to learn and to experience, and if you've never experienced it, Standard is a great spot to learn it. I know many of you out there still have questions about Betrayal and about the Mastermind, and maybe many of you have never even fought the Mastermind or know who exactly the Mastermind is. That's why I'm calling it the Mastermind and not by their name. Anyway, hopefully you'll get a chance to experience the Mastermind in Standard, and it's a great spot to learn and practice the fight. If you're having trouble with Cirrus or any other endgame boss that will come down the line in the history of Path of Exile, Standard is a great spot to go and familiarize yourself with the boss's mechanics, the timing, and the difficulty of a particular boss's effects, and how those effects will play out on a given particular build. For instance, if you're using the best gear that you've got on the best build that you've ever made and you still can't take down Shaper, then maybe you ought to give him a few more tries. That's where Standard really can shine as a test basin for you to practice your boss encounters. The third great thing that you can do while you are in Standard waiting for 3.11 is to use Standard to test various crafting or previous mechanics that you simply haven't had time to go back and learn. So maybe you've never crafted before using League-specific crafts. Use Standard for that. I know a great many of you out there have no idea how to use delve fossils, and of course there are new things coming out every single day about very old mechanics. New players are discovering all sorts of new interactions on a given daily basis inside Path of Exile. It's one of the really cool aspects about Path of Exile that keeps us coming back, is discovering new and interesting and maybe even potentially unintended mechanics to interact with one another. You can also learn about using more expensive crafting methods. Every single league, there are multiple different content creators who come out and tell you, hey, here's the best 5 ways to make currency in Path of Exile. Hi, I'm one of those people. I do that too. It's a great topic for discussion, and almost every single league, the nature of that discussion changes a little bit. But typically those discussions and the focus of those discussions is on making currency on a budget or using the most efficient ways to make currency. While it's great to focus in on some more budget ways to make currency or to get your league started, it's another thing entirely to learn about the top end of crafting in Path of Exile and how to take advantage of top end crafting supplies that do drop for you. So maybe you've never actually used an Exalted Orb, or maybe a Crusader's Orb, or maybe an Awakener's Orb. Maybe you've never used certain currencies that are available to you, and they're just sitting over in Standard. Standard is a great place for you to use as a test basin to learn about top-end crafting, and if you use that currency and make a mistake, it's okay, it's not in League, and it's not going to set you back several hours worth of gameplay, because it's in Standard, and it's just sitting there not being used anyway. Almost every video that we discuss some aspect of Betrayal, somebody will drop me a comment, and there are many of you even still in Guild who say, yeah, I have no idea about Betrayal. What's going on with Betrayal? Betrayal was an expansion? Betrayal was a league? Whoa, what even goes on with that thing? I have no idea. I just click a button and hope it drops me currency. Now is a great time for you to use Standard to learn about the Betrayal board and how to set it up and how to min-max your particular strategies and your particular approach to using the Betrayal board. So now is a great time for you to actually interact with Betrayal as a mechanic in Standard and to learn who you want to rank up, who you want to take on, and who you actually want to grow influence as a particular leader of a faction in Betrayal. Lastly, you can use Standard to improve your speed in the Labyrinth. A lot of players will pay early on during a league start for a particular carry through a particular lab. Now, the going rate for that depends, of course, upon the timing of the league, whether or not it's day 1, day 2, and of course how difficult the lab is that day, and whether or not it is the top-end Uber lab or if it's some tier of the Labyrinth below that. Needless to say, people generally don't like paying for carries with people who are very slow or with people who fail the Labyrinth. So if you want to either A, avoid having to pay a carry, or B, become a carry yourself and provide that as a service for you to jumpstart your currency pool in an upcoming league, you can learn to improve your speed and what sort of builds tackle the Labyrinth with an exceptional amount of quality of life, survivability, and speed. The fourth thing that you can do over on Standard League while we wait for 3.11 is, of course, to min-max a character. Have you ever wanted to own a particular legacy item, like a Legacy Combs Heart that's just ridiculously expensive, but it's got 1,000 flat life on it instead of just 500? Maybe you've wanted to earn yourself a Mirror of Calandra, or use a Mirror of Calandra, or use several of them on a particular build and make your build the best possible type of build that you are pursuing. Standard is the best place to do that because you've got a great amount of time in order to do that. Standard never loses characters, so any work that you do on a character inside Standard, it's not going to be deleted unless you manually go in and delete that character. Maybe you want to push your character to level 100. Maybe you've never done that before. Maybe there's a particular upgrade that you've wanted or looked for, and maybe it was actually never even crafted in a particular league, but it's available in Standard. Maybe you've got questions like, well, what piece of gear would I change if I had all the time and all the currency in the world? Standard is a great place to ask that question and then pursue answering it. Then, of course, you've got to ask the question, how would you remake your passive tree if you've got all of this best-in-slot gear available to your character? All of that changes, and all of the equations and the various inputs that you've got for your equations for your character to be min-maxed change when you get access to all of your currency, all of your gear, and all of the gear that is available for trade and for mirror servicing in Standard League. Min-maxing your character doesn't just mean pushing to level 90 or 95, or even simply getting whatever it is that you can afford in a particular league. Min-maxing your character to the maximum amount, like true min-maxing, is only really truly available inside Standard League because of all of the crazy legacy gear that's available there. Well, thanks so much for watching and participating in today's discussion. I would love to hear down below in the comments what your plans are as you're waiting for 3.11 to come out and what you're going to do in Standard. Do you have a particular character that you'd like to min-max or work on? Is there a particular item maybe that you're looking to make as a mirror tier item? Are there particular bosses or scenarios or even simply goals for yourself that you've got to push in Standard? Whether that's a particular delve depth or whether that's taking a boss down in a particular amount of time or killing a number of bosses, whatever it is, drop us a comment down below and let us know what your goals are and what you'll be doing as we wait for 3.11 in Standard League. Big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters, and I hope today is the day a Mirror of Calandra drops for you. Thanks for watching that video. If you'd like more information on any of our discussion points today, you can see them down below in the video description. If you'd also like to join our Discord or support our Patreon, you can do so with the links down below. Thanks again, and big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters.